There's no place better in terms of our topography and what we have to offer. It's hard to beat.
San Francisco, its Golden Gates, a beacon for dreamers and bohemians. It's a place beloved for its beauty. But recently, the shine of the city by the bay has dulled.
And what did this part of town used to mean to San Francisco?
This was some of the highest rent per square foot in the city.
Okay.
When I had the listing on Powell Street, I had 8 offers, all over asking price.
And now?
No interest.
Hans Hansen is a lifelong San Francisco resident and the president of a commercial real estate company there.
The vacancy there was the Disney store, so that closed. Next door to that was Amani, that closed. Then next door to that was T-Mobile, they just closed.
He's had a front row seat to the hollowing out of the city's downtown, the empty offices, homelessness, and a deadly drug epidemic.
Can you enumerate what the problems are with San Francisco right now that you see?
The real problem is that San Francisco has lost its tourist attraction as well as the convention business. As one store closes, it's a domino effect, because frankly, these type of stores here rely on traffic that goes from store to store to store.
In cities across the country, downtown areas have suffered in the past few years, but San Francisco has been hit especially hard. Nearly half of the stores in the city's downtown shopping district have closed since 2019, according to the San Francisco Standard, a local online news organization. And overnight visits to the city were down 31% last year compared to 2019. San Francisco was a cradle of the tech boom.
Google, Amazon, Twitter, Meta, you name it. They started to expand their headquarters to have a presence in the city.
But then came COVID.
All these software engineering companies, all these startups now have a lot of options of choosing between remote working versus coming back to the office, and that created this trouble.
During the week of June 29th, the daily office occupancy was only 47%, among the lowest in the country. Once coveted office space now sits empty. The mayor acknowledging last month that things need to change.
We have to pivot. We have to make changes to our policies. We have to make changes to our tax structure. We have to be way more friendly to business than we have been.
We spent time with concerned San Francisco stakeholders, from small business owners to law enforcement, eager to see their city shine again, and addiction recovery and homeless advocates who are just trying to keep members of their communities alive as the fentanyl crisis wreaks havoc. Since the 90s, Celine Nasser's family has owned San Francisco deli and wine store next to the Westfield Mall.
How about a receipt for you?
Profits are down about 50% since the pandemic. She says reduced foot traffic and theft are the biggest obstacles.
Sandwich will be coming out shortly.
At the peak, she says the store was seeing up to 5 robberies each day.
They're filling up their bag full of wine bottles. We had to change our champagne fridge from being, having real champagne in there to all display bottles, because it was the first place people would go.
While total crime in San Francisco is down, the city has seen a 12% rise in robberies so far this year compared to 2022. But it's unclear how many of the crimes, ones like Nasser is witnessing, are actually reported to the police. Under current state law, shoplifting anything under $950 is considered a misdemeanor.
We're supposed to document how much they steal, and once it's over $1,000, then police can do something and get involved and prosecute them. It's not realistic.
And now the Nasser family is facing yet another challenge. Their landlord, the Westfield Mall, is pulling out, announcing it's surrendering the property to lenders. The company writing, given the challenging operating conditions in downtown San Francisco, which have led to declines in sales, occupancy, and foot traffic, we have made the difficult decision.
We have no clue as of now what the future holds for us. We really have no protection over, our business.
Just a few blocks away, the Huynh family is also fighting to keep the doors open to their Vietnamese restaurant located in the Tenderloin's Little Saigon neighborhood. They say despite their loyal customer base, there have been some challenges.
The Tenderloin has never been like the best, safest neighborhood, but it's definitely have gotten rougher over the years, and it's gotten pretty bad.
Part of what's making it so bad, the nationwide fentanyl crisis. In the first half of 2023, fentanyl caused more accidental overdose deaths than any other drug.
We saw more people die from overdose deaths in San Francisco at the height of pandemic than we did for people who died from COVID. And we are a densely populated city, so we need to handle it like the crisis it is.
J.J. Smith has called the Tenderloin neighborhood his home for his whole life.
Hey, sister, how you doing today?
He's taken a role of advocate, almost protector of the neighborhood, trying to help those dealing with substance abuse. His own brother passed away from a fentanyl overdose about 8 months ago.
Personally, I have seen over 70 deaths. I have Narcan at least 40 of those 70 deaths.
You've Narcan people yourself?
Yes, I got all the videos on my Twitter site.
His Twitter feed, a heartbreaking catalog of the crisis. He says 2 years ago, he didn't even know what Narcan was. Now, he keeps it stashed on the street.
So he's pointing to where Narcan is stashed, right in the hole in the wall.
We keep Narcan right here in the wall. Here's the shot for the needle, if you want to give him the needle Narcan shot.
The addiction level, particularly because we're dealing with fentanyl right now, is unlike anything that I've ever seen in my law enforcement career.
Governor Gavin Newsom recently deployed the California Highway Patrol to help with the drug problem in San Francisco. In just 6 weeks, they seized enough fentanyl to kill the entire population of the city nearly 3 times over.
How much do we think is still left that has not been seen?
That's the question,
not interdicted?
right? That's the question. How do we get to that? You know, you get in there and you get the low-level dealers or the mid-level traffickers, and you start developing intelligence and working those up through the task force and hopefully putting a dent in suppliers. That's our goal.
Officials say that many who they've arrested for using and selling drugs aren't from San Francisco, but that leads to the question, why are so many going there?
Is San Francisco more permissive than other cities?
We, the SFPD, really are putting more focus on the street conditions, the open air use in the street. We have to stop that behavior.
I think prosecution is such a big part of this.
San Francisco DA Brooke Jenkins announcing a new policy last month that will charge individuals who've been arrested twice for drug use or possession and refer them to the Community Justice Center, which could place them into substance abuse or mental health programs. But law enforcement also says the problem isn't as widespread as it might seem.
San Francisco is a beautiful place. It's 49 square miles, and we're talking about a very, very concentrated area where this is the most pervasive in our city, not even a 1 square mile area.
When Julia Arroyo walks around that 1 square mile that makes up the Tenderloin, she sees something different. She sees herself.
If you looked about 13 years back, you would see me out on these streets. And sometimes I needed people to believe in me more than I could believe in myself at the time.
Arroyo used drugs to escape a painful childhood that included foster care, homelessness, and even incarceration.
I was struggling with a lot of trauma and experienced a lot of violence. And, this was a way that I numbed out.
If fentanyl had been on the streets,
I would not be here. I would not be here if fentanyl was on the streets.
A decade later, now 38 years old and a mother, she's off the streets and leading the group that helped her get to where she is now.
I'm an executive director at an organization. There are a ton of people that, have these stories that, began with substance use.
Arroyo's message, redemption is possible.
If I could envision or wish anything for the city is that people have more environments to be able to thrive and dream in.
We're a city of boom and bust. We've been a city of boom and bust since the gold rush days.
Since the collapse of gold and the city itself with the 1906 earthquake, San Francisco has always reinvented itself, becoming a center for trade, then banking, then tech.
If we can right the ship, there's no reason why we can't be rebuilt again.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.